Drake on Kendrick Lamar's son, why you never hold your son and tell him say cheese. I heard that one of them little kids might be Dave Free.
Drake doesn't have a kid. Kendrick lied. But Kendrick's kid isn't Dave Freeze, from my understanding. So Drake lied. So there's lies all in this.
It's becoming a daily occurrence now for Drake to prove Kendrick right when he called him a master manipulator and a habitual liar. This time, Drake has been caught lying about Kendrick's kids not actually being his, but actually being fathered by Kendrick's longtime friend, Dave Free. But Drake's attempt to drive a wedge between Kendrick and his inner circle seems to have backfired spectacularly. Even Drake's lapdog DJ Akademiks had to admit that Drake's claims about Kendrick's kids were false. But that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Drake's manipulation tactics, and more revelations are surfacing about all the stuff he has lied about. But what did Dave Free have to say about Drake spreading lies about Kendrick's children being Dave's? And what other lies has Drake been caught out here telling? Let's break it down.
Drake is getting jumped by half of the rap game right now, but he shouldn't be surprised. He's been firing subliminal shots at the field for years, so let's not act like he's the victim now. In his leak this song, where he responded to Kendrick Lamar, Metro Boomin, Rick Ross, The Weeknd, A$AP Rocky, and more, Drake said it's 20v1. It is kind of corny that everyone is jumping him at once, but there are a lot of reasons why people are upset at him. Starting with Kendrick Lamar. Him and Drake have been quietly feuding since Dot dropped his Control verse in 2013. Their beef seems to be mostly competitive and not personal, but Kendrick is probably tired of all the subs that Drake has been firing over the years on songs like Remix, The Language, and 100. That's why he finally said, sneak this and don't like that, and took a direct out of him.
The viral beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar is simmering down, even with the die-hard Drizzy fans admitting that Kendrick won this battle by a landslide. But just because the dust is settling doesn't mean the online chatter is dying down anytime soon. Fans are now diving deep into these diss tracks from both camps, trying to dissect every line to figure out who told the truth, who lied, and who really exposed the dirt. And speaking of lies, one thing we know for a fact is that Drake lied about one of Kendrick's kids supposedly being fathered by his longtime friend Dave Free. To give you some context, Kendrick and Dave go way back, both in a professional capacity and as friends. They were childhood friends who went on to become business partners and colleagues. Dave is a filmmaker and record executive, and during his time as co-president of Top Dog Entertainment, he and Kendrick teamed up to direct several music videos and short films under the name The Little Homies. Dave helped create the visuals for Kendrick's albums To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and he also co-directed the concert film Kendrick Lamar Live from Paris, The Big Steppers Tour. In 2019, Dave left TDE, and he and Kendrick started their own creative company, PG Lang. They've continued to work closely on different projects and have remained close friends. Now let's talk about how Drake tried and failed to turn Kendrick and Dave against each other by using false rumors about Dave getting Kendrick's fiancée, Whitney, pregnant. So like I said, Dave is one of Kendrick's closest friends, and he's essentially an uncle to Kendrick and Whitney's two kids. So it's not even kind of weird for Dave to like a picture of those kids and comment on both Kendrick and Whitney's posts with their little ones. But it seems like Drake can't comprehend what it means to have genuine relationships and friendships, because he took one comment Dave left on Whitney's posts of her and her kids and used it as proof that Dave and Whitney were hooking up behind Kendrick's back. On his diss track Family Matters, Drake claims that Kendrick and Whitney, who have been together since high school, are no longer in love and that Kendrick mistreats Whitney. He then alleged that Kendrick's son is not really his and that he was fathered by Dave Free. Drake raps, "All that puppy love was over in y'all late teens. Why you never hold your son and tell him say cheese? We could have left the kids out of this, don't blame me. You a dog and you know it. You just play sweet. Your baby mama captions always screaming save me. You did her dirty all your life. You trying to make peace. I heard that one of them little kids might be Dave Free." And then on the other diss track, The Heart Part 6, Drake uses the heart emojis Dave left on one of Whitney's photos as cover art and doubles down on those claims about Kendrick mistreating Whitney and Whitney getting pregnant by Dave. Drake also insinuates that the fact that Whitney follows Dave and not Kendrick on Instagram is proof of their alleged affair. He raps, "And why isn't Whitney denying all of the allegations? Why is she following Dave Free and not Mr. Morale? You haven't seen the kids in 6 months. The distance is wild." Dave leaving heart emojis underneath pics of the child. Drake then suggests that Kendrick's resentment comes from dealing with betrayal from those closest to him, him. Deep cuts that never healed and now they got infected. Like if Dave really effed your girl and got her pregnant. Talk about breeding resentment. I'm not sure how to ease the sentiment. This is just too intimate. I'm praying you recover from both incidents. Now, neither Dave nor Whitney have addressed any of the allegations Drake made in his diss tracks, and Drake's fans took this as proof that Drake was telling the truth. But let's think logically for a second. In my view, the reason Whitney and Dave haven't addressed Drake's allegations is because they recognized early on that giving any attention to these rumors would only give them more credibility than they deserve. I mean, Drake based this whole thing on an emoji and some gossip for media takeout. He's been hammering away at it, trying to divert attention by saying, sure, I might be a PDF file, but look at Kendrick. Ironically, if Drake had just brushed off these allegations and refused to let them hold any weight in his life, he could have made Kendrick look pretty desperate and irrational. But because Drake probably knows there's some truth to his own shady dealings, he feels compelled to keep defending himself in the most unconvincing way possible. Let's face it, if Drake had any solid evidence to back up his claims about Dave and Whitney, he would have shown it by now. Also, no matter how strategic someone may be, you wouldn't let rumors of being a PDF file spiral out of control as part of some grand plan to expose your op for getting cheated on by his fiancée. Also, Drake using the fact that Whitney doesn't follow Kendrick on IG as some sort of gotcha moment is hilarious. He clearly has the understanding of a teenager on how relationships work, which makes sense when you think about it. Drake is almost 40 and he's spent over 2 decades in the spotlight, and yet he's never once been in a serious long-term relationship. I also want to point out that Dave Free is literally the only person posted on Kendrick's Instagram. If they had any beef or fallout because of that, I don't think that Kendrick would have him on his gram. But let's say, hypothetically, that Dave Free is actually the biological father of one of Kendrick's kids. Does it really change anything? Kendrick's still stepping up and being a great dad regardless of who's on the birth certificate, while Drake is a certified deadbeat who got diss-tracked by Pusha T into being a present father. Even if Kendrick was raising a child who isn't biologically his, that pales in comparison to the stuff Drake is being accused of. And it now turns out that Drake straight up lied about Dave Free fathering one of Kendrick's kids. And get this, Drake's #1 fanboy, DJ Akademiks, just admitted that Drake lied about a bunch of stuff, including Dave being the father of one of Kendrick's kids.
But Kendrick's kid isn't Dave Freeze, from my understanding. So Drake lied. So there's lies all in this. What I've realized is that this battle, as much as people have been hyping it up.
And this just proves that everything Kendrick said about Drake being a liar and manipulator is true. I believe Drake did this to muddy the waters because the average Drake stan does not think deeply about anything at all and takes everything at face value, especially if it's coming from their sixth god. No matter which side you're on, let's be real, Drake took a massive L in this beef. I mean, we have people jamming out in clubs to a track where Drake is being called a PDF file. Even the NBA is getting in on it, bumping Not Like Us.
So the Timberwolves, who have led by as many as 32, will take a 22-point lead into the fourth quarter with the NBA playoffs presented by Google Pixel.
This whole time, Drake's been getting torn apart lyrically, and then he proceeded to dig his own hole by proving Kendrick's point about him being a master manipulator and habitual liar. Finally, I think it's also worth mentioning, however small it seems, that Drake said he heard that one of Kendrick's kids might be Dave's, but Kendrick said, "You're a PDF file," over and over like he was stating a known fact. One fan said, "Things that are unproven/unsubstantiated. Drake having a daughter, Kendrick being his wife, Dave Free being the father. Things that have been proven. Drake having questionable interactions with multiple young women over a wide span of time. Drake colonizing sounds." And then someone else added, "Don't forget the Diddy punch, Pusha T avoidance, Baca being a confirmed ex-offender in Drake's camp, Drake being a liar as Kendrick was never molested, ghostwriters, AI user, swag stealer, song stealer, backdooring his friends' girls. What I miss?" But let's hear your take on this. Why do you think Drake chose to run with that narrative about Dave Free being the father of one of Kendrick's kids when this is the easiest thing to disprove? Do you think Drake had a strategy, or was he just throwing ish at the wall to see what would stick? Drop your comments below and make sure you stick around for this next video.